Hey, how's it going, YouTube drummers and drummer fans? Today I'm making a video about miking the drums using the Zoom H4N Pro and the Zoom H8. I've made over 500 drum cover videos, and over that time I've discovered and learned a lot about the importance of audio. I would say the audio, in my opinion, is more important than the video. If the video is not the greatest, as long as the audio is good, people will still watch the video. But if the audio is no good, no matter how good the video is, people will just won't watch the video. It's too painful. So when I first started out in my drum videos, I was just using the microphone built in the camera and getting a really low quality audio. The video was okay, but the audio was really bad. So I decided to go out and pick up the H4N Pro. It's been really good. I've used it for about 5 years. Very sturdy, dropped a lot of times, and still works great. So the way I was using it in the beginning is I was positioning it about 10 feet away from the kit and just picking up an overall sound of the kit, and then just syncing that with the video in post-production. So it was a good sound. I was happy with it. But then eventually what I did is, using the two inputs, I mic'd the snare and the kick. And that actually added a lot to my drum cover videos. Getting a much richer snare and kick, because that's really what drives the song usually, is the kick and the snare. So when you accentuate that and combine that with the overall sound, it added a lot to my drum cover videos, and I highly recommend that. But what I found is, it was good for a good sound, but what I found, it wasn't really picking up the toms at all. And I was a little bit frustrated with that. So eventually I decided to go with the H8. And the H8, it has bigger condenser mics, so you're getting a better sound there. But the great thing is you have 6 inputs, 3 there, 3 on this side, and they all have their own individual gain control, so it's really easy to use. So basically what I would do is I would use these 3 here for the 3 toms, and then I would use this for the snare, this for the kick drum. This one I didn't actually use, so I just used 5 of the inputs. And then I would position this about 2 feet away from the hi-hat. So I'm using these 2 condenser mics just to basically focus on the hi-hat. So we're getting a really nice sound on the hi-hats. And then the H4N, what I would do is I would plug in 2 overhead condenser mics for the cymbals. So I've got left and right crash, and then this one is picking up the ride. So I've got at this point I've got all the toms, snare, hi-hat, all the cymbals. And then I would place this directly in front of the kick drum. And I found these condenser mics, seems counterintuitive, but you're actually getting a really good sound on the kick using those condenser mics. So that's basically how I use those 2 combined, and gets a really good sound. Okay, so here is the bass mic on the batter side to pick up the sound there. Going into the H8. And from there, I've got the bottom of the snare mic'd. I find I get a better sound miking the bottom instead of the top. Most guys do the top, but I prefer miking the bottom. Mics on the bottom of those toms. On the floor tom, I do mic the top. And then, as I mentioned before, the H8 is picking up the sound of the hi-hat. It's about a foot away. So picking up a really clean sound on the hi-hat. And then the H4N picking up the kick drum with the condenser mics, and then 2 overhead mics, one picking up this crash and the overhead mic picking up the crash and the ride. So picking up all the sounds on the drum kit.